Well, I was on my way home from work the other day, and my windshield wipers decided to stop working. They stopped in this upright position, which really doesn't do me any good. Um, they would move a little bit after I turned the power on and off. They would just kind of go up and down ever so slightly, but eventually they just kind of froze in this spot. And of course, it always happens when it's the most beautiful day of the year, just like all my other car issues, but that's all right. We're going to get her done. So what we're going to do today is replace the windshield wiper motor. Pretty sure it just burnt out on me. First thing you got to do is pop out these little plastic guys here, little rivet. Pop out this plastic piece. There will be a bolt underneath it. Another one right here, another one here in the corner, and then underneath this one as well. That should pop this plastic piece off and reveal the motor in there. I was able to pop these little guys out with a needle nose pliers, and then these ones came out with just a flathead screwdriver. Now I'm going to take off these guys, and that's a 12 millimeter, and use a 12 millimeter socket. Well, these things took a little convincing. Good thing it's wintertime and everything's frozen together. Make sure it's nice and tight. But yeah, they came out, just took a little convincing. Have threads on them, so you just gotta wiggle them back and forth. All right, now I gotta peel this rubber piece back and start prying it up here. Try to get this piece off. Again, I think there's a lot of ice on here, which make it a little more fun. All right, well, I got that piece off, and when I popped it off, I noticed that there's another little rubber piece here that kind of just form fits on there. I think it was just hard because it was frozen on there. It kind of broke apart, but I think as long as I get it wedged in there before I put it back on, it should be okay. Just might be a little tricky with all that ice on there, but we'll see how it goes. There's the motor right there. I'm gonna swap her out and see if that does the trick. I got a new one right here. All right, and you also want to check before anything else just to make sure that it's not a fuse. Fuse box is right here. One for the windshield washer. Wiper motor is this one right here. Let's just see what we can see here. And looks like it's fine. Those little rings around it are the fuse. It looks like it's good, so that means it's most likely the motor. So once you get that cover off, you gotta pop that little clip. Pop that gray thing off, and then you can see right where that snow fell. Those two little screws right there, those are T30. It's kind of a weird position. You can't really get a wrench in there super well. So if you're in a pinch, you can use a 1/4 inch socket to put in a drill bit, essentially. It fits perfect. It's a little trick that I learned that might come in handy. I'm gonna unscrew those guys and take that clip off, and that motor should come right out. All right, that trick worked for one of the bolts, but this is still too tight of an area to fit my socket in there for that one. So I'm gonna resort to the more ghetto way of doing this. But it'll work. And you just have to break them loose. They come apart pretty easy. So just got to break it loose and take her off. So I got the motor popped off. Off that little area right there. And if you can see this this piece right here, it's hard to point at with one hand, but this piece of my thumb's pointing to, that little nut actually comes off, which goes onto these shafts here. And the new motor doesn't have that little bridge piece here, so you actually just got to take that screw off and put it on here, swap her out. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, I got the motor out. So this is the new motor. This little piece here pops right back in to that spot right there, and right there. And that's actually in good shape still. It did come with a new one, but I think I can just use the old one. So it should pop in there. And then that little piece that I took off is still on the shaft, like I was saying. It's this piece right here. This piece will connect onto here. It's a 12 millimeter, by the way, for this bolt. Okay, I got it popped in there. I got that bolt back screwed on with that shaft. Just got to put these two little bolts on. But I'm just going to test them real quick just for shits and gigs, just to make sure that that's actually what's wrong with my car. Let's see. All right, moment of truth. Something's happening. Aha! It's working. All right, well, just gotta tighten up a couple more bolts and put things back together. Okay, one thing that is very important, I had to take it back apart because I noticed that, you see how these things move? The stopping point needs to be when your windshield wipers are perpendicular here. And so then they start and stop there, go up and back down. I had it backwards, which is just this crankshaft here. This guy right here was backwards. It was facing that way. So now I have it facing this way. I had to kind of dial it in a little bit. Now it starts and stops perfectly with no movement in the beginning. It's exactly where you want it. And it looks like it's pretty much at that far end of that rotation. So now I'm going to put everything back together again and then get the windshield wipers on. Okay, last thing, just got to put these two caps back on over the bolts here. And those just pop right on. But you got to do what you got to do. Glad it works. All right, I'm glad it works. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next winter when the next thing breaks on my car.